Lately, there has been a lot of controversy about microblading, and a lot of people are opting out of microblading. So, today's topic of discussion in my world of microblading and micropigmentation is microblading going out of fashion? Well, let's discuss this very much in detail. So microblading is suddenly very popular across the country. People want to get microblading done, and there are so many videos and before after photos of microblading and on social media and on Google as well. And most of these photos and videos are taken during or immediately after the procedure. And yes, it looks beautiful, बहुत अच्छा दिखता है उस टाइम पे, वो एकदम hair like strokes, and they look so nice because they look so natural. And हमें लगता है कि बस देखते रहे उन ब्रोज को. We want to go on looking at those bros. They look so pretty immediately after the procedure. Now, I'm going to stay quiet for the next 5 seconds while you think about how many long term results or healed results of microblading you've seen on social media. When I say healed results, they are maybe 10 to 15 days, or even 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, or even longer. So now I want you to think how many healed results you have seen while I stay quiet for the next 5 seconds. Did you think of any? You would have actually seen very few or maybe no healed results at all. What you usually see are the immediately before and after pictures of microblading. So, why is that? So, we're going to discuss that more in detail about why microblading is popular and why we shouldn't be doing that much of microblading. Microblading is not bad, okay? It's a wonderful procedure, but there are a lot of limitations. And if not microblading, then what? So, why microblading is so popular? It's because it's one of the oldest techniques in permanent makeup. So, people are very familiar with that technique. And it is one of the most popular techniques across the world, because that's the word people associate with permanent eyebrows. So people think microblading and permanent eyebrows are the same thing. With microblading, what we actually do is we put tiny little cuts in the skin along with pigment, that is color, and then it gets absorbed in the skin through those cuts. So the color gets absorbed inside the skin through these cuts. Now, these cuts are in the shape of hair like structures, the shape and direction of hair. Now, as soon as these cuts are filled up with pigment, they look as if they are real hair. And this, of course, looks beautiful. This is immediately after the treatment, right? So, because the pigment is there on the skin also. So, it is kind of like, let's say you've taken a very good quality eyebrow pencil with a very thin tip and you've actually drawn the hair strokes. How would it look? Because the pigment is there on the skin, the immediately after results look very nice and hair like on the skin. However, but something else is entirely something else is happening inside the skin. So inside the skin, kya ho raha hai? There is a healing process going on, and in the skin, what is happening is the reason why we should not be doing that much of microblading. So in the skin, depending on the technique used, whether how well experienced and how well trained your permanent makeup artist is, and also depending on the skin type of the client, the look might be very very different in 2 to 3 weeks. So there are a lot of skin types where microblading should not be done because it does not give very good results in those skin types. In most skin types, the pigment that is there inside the skin will spread in the surrounding area. This will make, so initially what we've done is we have made these crisp, hair like strokes, but inside the skin it spreads and then the strokes get blurred. So, as a result, after a few weeks or months, you won't be able to see the individual hair like strokes. What you will actually see is a more blurred version of the strokes, the pigment, and then it will change inside the skin. It will start looking bluish gray or greenish gray if the pigment is placed very deep. You might have seen those brows which look like a tattoo. They're the color of a tattoo, so they will not look very nice. At present, most of the artists, especially the senior artists, or I would say the more experienced and honest artists across the world who were offering microblading, are now advising against microblading, not because it is a bad procedure. It is good. I have been doing microblading for so many years. It has very good results if you select the right type of skin, and also if you do the procedure properly, with the correct technique as well as with the correct products. However, there is a slight risk of scarring with microblading when it is done repeatedly over a period of years. So, in microblading, why I'm not recommending it too much nowadays is because there are other better options to microblading. Compared to microblading, there are other procedures which give better results. So, what are those procedures? Uh, f- in microblading, if you see here, the fresh look is very nice, but the healed results, the strokes get blurred. So we don't want to see those kind of results, and because of that, we opt for other techniques. So if not microblading, then what? So because most people associate uh, permanent eyebrows with microblading, then they start wondering, if not microblading, then what do we do to get beautiful, well shaped permanent eyebrows? Well, let me tell you. Microblading is just one of the techniques, not the only technique for beautifying and enhancing your brows. Permanent eyebrow makeup done with the help of machines. So microblading is a manual technique. Okay, there is no machine involved in microblading. You just need a holder and a blade and pigment, and the microblading is done. There is no machine. So if anybody, if you are not a PMU professional, if you're listening to this video or you're watching this video right now, then try and understand that if somebody is telling you that they are doing microblading for you, and you see them using a machine, an electric machine, that is not microblading. Microblading is a manual procedure. However, permanent eyebrows done with machine are much more popular nowadays. Those are not microblading, but they give beautiful results. So machine work heals much better and in a more smooth transition while fading, and it is also less traumatic to the skin. By less traumatic, I mean, okay, so at some point or the other in life, you might have got some cut on the skin because of some sharp object somewhere or the other. And at some point, you would also have got a pinprick or a puncture on the skin, which heals faster, which heals without scarring and without that much pain. A puncture, right? So when we are using a machine to do permanent eyebrows, we are not making cuts, we are making tiny little punctures in the skin, which heal much better than making the cuts. So machine work heals much better, and hence it is healthier for the skin. So, what are the machine work techniques? So, with a good permanent makeup machine, you can create well defined and shapely brows with minimal injury to the skin. There are one technique is a machine shading technique. So here you can choose to give a very subtle and soft look, very natural looking brows, or for somebody who regularly uses a lot of makeup on the face otherwise, you can also give a very bold eyebrow look, very well defined thick dark brows. So with machine work, there is a lot of versatility. You can go as subtle or as bold as you want. With microbleeding, there's a limitation to how bold you can go. So if you see my own brows, these are all machine shaded brows, they look pretty natural, and they you can give a very well defined shape. Commonly or popularly, this technique of machine shading is known as ombre brows or powder brows. There is also a technique where you can create hair strokes with machine. They are hair strokes which look similar to microblading, but they heal much better because they are not cuts. So they are done with the help of a machine, and they are also popularly known as nano hair strokes. But the downside is that very few artists are good at this procedure because it's one of the most difficult procedures to learn amongst all the permanent eyebrow procedures. You can also combine various types of techniques. Now, this is very interesting, okay? We are going to talk about all combinations in one of the upcoming webinars. But you can combine various techniques to give a look that is more natural. You can combine any of the hair stroke techniques. So one is a hair stroke technique is microblading. Then you have a hair stroke technique called nano hair stroke. So you can combine any of these hair stroke techniques with a machine shading. So when you shade, you can give a better shape. And when you give a hair stroke like look, you are able to create, that natural look maybe in the front portion. So whenever we are doing a combination brow, we usually do a hair stroke technique in the front part and a shading technique in the body and the tail part of the eyebrow. So by mixing and matching these techniques, you can create various types of looks. You can also create your own signature technique. I have my own signature technique. So in my setup at Eyebrow and Ahmedabad, we have a set of brows called signature brows, which is my own signature technique about how I like doing brows, and they look beautiful and natural. So these type of bros are also known as combo bros or combination bros, hybrid bros, mixed bros. So people keep giving them different names based on the kind of combination they have used. So, microblading, like I said, is not the only technique. It is a nice technique, but not the only one. If you are only aware about microblading, then you should definitely explore more techniques in permanent eyebrow makeup. And what I also wanted to tell you is that in our upcoming sessions, we are going to talk about many more topics related to microblading and permanent makeup. So stay tuned, and to get regular updates, follow this YouTube channel of ours, and also follow us on Instagram, because there we keep announcing about the important updates or important sessions coming up. Our Instagram account is @eyebrow.zone. And you can also enroll for our email updates by clicking the link in the description below. So we would love to also have your feedback for this session, and also about what topics you want next in this series. So please share your opinions in the comments. Thank you so much and have a great day today.